Buying versus renting a home. What they won't and never will tell you. Now I'm going to give you a couple different sides and versions for renting and buying. And this is coming from a perspective of an individual who is close to 30 years in a home. And I'm letting you know right now, I won't be able to pay it off in 30. It's going to take me more years for refinancing. But I will show you some basic contrasts and why you should never rent long term. Hi, this is Jeff at Below Average. So I'm coming to you at the perspective of somebody who has made under probably the average income in my area, someone who's worked multiple jobs just to try to keep things going, someone whose wife has mostly or vastly stayed home to raise the kids, and the kind of financial pressure that puts on everybody. So let's get into this. Now, renting. Short term, I guess a small possibility for you to do, but long term, the most horrible decision and situation you will ever do for the rest of your lives, and you will never ever be able to get out of it. You won't be able to, you can't work your way out of it. You won't be able to do anything. The older you get, much when you start getting a little much older, you will definitely not be able to work your way out of it. You can't keep working extra jobs. You can't keep doing crazy hours. It'll catch up to you, and it's all going to be way too late. So, first, an example of why some people love to rent. These are people I physically have worked with for a long time, multiple jobs, a lot of similar scenarios of why people want to rent. One, closer to their job. They feel they're just right down the road. I'm only going to rent for a short time. Things are fine because I can work more hours. I got freedom and I got all this kind of stuff. I don't have money for a down payment on a home. All those can be fine. All those sound good initially. There's the trap. Once you're in there, very hard to get out. I will tell you right now, if you are renting and you're not working a crazy amount of hours, you are not able to save money for a down payment for a house. There's the first trap. Now, secondly, people love to be able to get in because it looks newer, it's fresher. They got people living next door to them. Maybe their friends live in the same complex, all this kind of stuff. All that goes away over time and you will be caught. So forget about that. Don't make a decision based on that, not long term. Definitely do not stay in that scenario. Because I tell you right now, the people that are renting to you, all they want to do is keep you renting for the rest of your life because that puts money in their pocket, especially if corporations own where you're renting. And it'll keep you poor forever. And oh boy, wait till you want to retire and you will feel the screw job that is going to happen. Everything will come to a head. You will be done because you'll be getting too old, or you'll be working a lot of hours in retirement just to keep things going. So, no renting long term. Now, I'll give you a slight idea on my side. Buying a home when you're young with a family, very hard struggle. Always has been a struggle. Bills are hard to keep up because I've worked multiple jobs just to keep things going. And as my generation, there's a lot of people lost their jobs. They went overseas, out of the country, just complete shutdown. And I'll do other videos maybe on that later to give you some more precise examples. So I've started and stopped and lost jobs and started over again, lost $5, $6, $7 an hour just to keep things going. But in the end, as I am in my middle 50s, and like I said, will not pay my house off in 30 years, it is going to be longer than that. It is still, by far, not even close, the best decision versus buying versus renting. So now here, I'll give you a few examples of some people that I have worked with to give you an idea of what I've seen over the long amount of years of their thinking. Initially, They loved it because, hey, they're by themselves. They might have went through a divorce. They're living with other people who have left and they've always just wanted to stay living by themselves at this point. At that, they haven't decided where they want to live or what they want to do, all these kind of things. And over time, over years, you will start hearing from these same people that if you ask them about their rent has gone up drastically, especially in the last 4 years, to the point that they don't even know what to do, to the point they leave from where they've been to try to move into another place that might give them a cheap start off for rent, but eventually it all still catches up to them. I've seen people that gotten to the point of once they were able to stay by themselves, that they no longer can do that, and they're having to look for roommates for something they have never had before, because some of these people have decided they've never gotten married, or they're divorced, or they're divorced with their kids, or their kids are just moving out. Now it's all on them. They can't do it. So it's either work a second or a third job, or they're taking in people, which they've never had to do, and which is obviously what nobody wants to do at that point. Take in a roommate. You're not in your early 20s thinking, ooh, who cares, whatever. I'm talking people that are getting in their 50s or 60s and having to think about doing this. I have physically have worked with individuals who have had to go through this over 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years of renting. And this is where they're at, as retirement is actually possible in the future based on their age. They know where they're at, and it isn't going to happen. These are the same people that could not earn enough money to put money away for retirement. Oh, I will stay renting so I don't spend the extra money on a house. Then I can save more money in retirement, and then I'll worry about paying cash for something later. I tell you what, the increase in the housing cost and the increase in rent has wiped that out over a person's time frame and work in their working life. This is something that it is too late for them to fix or too late for them to do much about. Because I have not worked with anybody that is working an average job that has been able to fully fund a retirement, stick money away to purchase a house later, even if it's a massive down payment, and able to pay their bills and still live. It sounds good, but it has not worked out. And this is the vast majority of anybody out there who is renting long term with these thoughts. You must get out of renting right now. Do not wait. Do not sign another lease. Figure out some other way to do it. Get into a house, and you'll be much better off in the long run. But you will struggle in a house if you are in the same situation as you were renting. There's no doubt about it. But here is the perspective that I will give you from somebody who has lived through this their entire lives, their entire working lives, and their entire lives in a home, trying to keep things going, trying to keep things paid off, or paid for, I should say, on what I say is my channel, Below Average. Now, here's the example. In my area, if you are renting now and you have been renting your whole life, all because of the reasons I talked about, your rent is approximately $1,200 a month plus utilities. Now, I know some people are paying a lot more than that in some areas and some are less. This is my general area, and it is a pretty big range if you really went out looking. But this is pretty close to nail on the head. And what is an average job out there paying in my area? You're probably looking at $18 to $20 an hour. Paying $1,200 a month plus utilities, plus all your other expenses that all come with it, your vehicle, everything you've been doing. This is somebody who might have started off 20 years ago renting for $300 something a month, $400 a month, and didn't want to get into a house because of whatever reasons. And this is where you're at now. You could be 10 years, 5 years, or you're closer than that to retirement, and you're thinking 50% of my Social Security check is probably going to go to paying for rent. Plus, then I have to still pay for utilities, and then I have to have food, got to have my vehicle, got to have everything. And like I said, you might think you're going to save enough money in retirement to offset all that. And I have never, ever seen it happen from an average worker. And I've seen a lot of these people have worked their lives away, have spent a huge amount of money working in a factory, working side jobs, trying to do everything just to have the extra money to do the things they wanted to do at the time. And in the end, they are still renting, and it is going to kill them. It's going to wipe them out. It is going to add so much stress to them later on in life when they have less ability to do anything about it. So, like I said, do not rent. Get on out of it. Do it right now. Now, my example, like I said, people I've worked with my whole life have fallen into that renter scenario. Here is on my side. My house payment started off at high 700s a month when I was only making $11 an hour. Obviously, I was working overtime, I was working 2 other jobs, doing everything possible. And as 25, 26, 27, 28 years later in the house, income has not even doubled from that. Still working some extra time, trying to not do that quite as much. Will not have my house paid off in 30 years. Had to refi, so we didn't lose it a long time ago. But here it is. In the end, I started off in the high 7s. Now I'm in the high 8s due to property tax and homeowners insurance increases due to this crappy economy that hopefully everybody will be able to maybe fix in the next week or so. Now, here it is. I am probably 7, 8 years, 9 years away, 8 years, 9 years away from paying the house off if I stay at my current pace. Struggling still to keep things fixed. Actually, not fixing a lot of things because I can't save enough money to do it because I'm in the same boat as the rest of you are. But here it is. I owe maybe 35, 40 grand in range, 45 on my house yet. But my house is worth about $250,000, $275,000. What is yours if you're renting? It's worth zero. And you're paying more per month than what I am with utilities. And within time frame of me paying off the house, if I retire at that point, my payment specifically towards the house taxes insurance is going to be about in the mid 300s a month. While you're probably paying, if you're paying $1,200 now and you throw 8, 9 more years in there, you might be paying $1,300, $1,400 a month. $800 possible, $900 possible difference per month in my pocket in retirement, not paying out versus renting. I, as the same person that is making the same below average wage as the rest of you renting, I will be able to retire more comfortable with $900 more a month in my pocket than the ones that are renting. So do not rent. Don't do any of that stuff. You would rather struggle with the home than struggle later in life paying rent where you cannot do nothing about. You go find some older people in their mid 60s, 70s, and 80s that are renting, and you try to figure out why they're renting. It is because of this scenario in their lives. This is part of it. Many other reasons could be affected. But you look at what they're paying versus what their Social Security check is and what they maybe have been able to save, they're getting devastated. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but as what I'm telling you, the math in the end is 1,000% better by buying instead of renting, no matter how much you struggle. You think the renter in their 60s are going to be able to walk out that little apartment, be able to walk out on the grass in their bare feet and think anything? They're just going to be doing it. I'm going to be able to walk out in mine and say, this baby's finally paid off. And at that point, my home could be worth approximately maybe $300,000. $300,000 paying $800, $900 less a month than the person that decided to rent and got stuck in there for most of their lives. You see the difference? This is a financial catastrophe for anybody who rents their whole life. You cannot do that. You must figure out a way to get out of that. And it doesn't matter if you are young and you have to go ask your parents if you can get out of your rental and move back home. Because if you're making that 18 to 20 an hour and you can save, and you'll save money if you can move back in, if you have to with your parents, you can save enough money in 1 to 2 years for the down payment on these crazy homes that are in the interest rates right now. And then you can be out, and then you can go from there. I guarantee you 20, 25, 30 years later, as you're getting that much older, you will thank yourself for doing this. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you have gone through. Tell me some of the situations you're in. Let me an idea. Let me have an idea of your age. What is going on? It is worse now in this younger generation than it was when I was there. It's going to take a long time to even remotely think if it's going to get any better. So you make that decision right now and do it and live with it and work as hard as you have to hold on to that home. Thank you. Have a great day.